How's it going, internets? I hope you're having a lovely day. It's that time again. It's time to get into some animation, time to get that imagination all cranked up, get into some creativity, and it's time to get inspired. And today's inspiration comes from Dean Cornwell. And if you're not familiar with his work, check right over here. I love Dean Cornwell. I think he's an amazing illustrator. I don't think he gets nearly enough credit. He comes from that kind of Brandywine school of illustrators, kind of in the vein of Pyle or Rockwell, but he's just phenomenal. I mean, look at this. I don't think nearly enough people recognize or talk about his work, and I just want to take a second and look at this particular sketch. We'll flip through a couple more here, but just look at the construction of this sketch. Composition is spot on. The layout is so intricate, and each one of these characters has a sense of thought, a sense of being behind them. The anatomy's spot on. The weight is all there, and everything is working together so fluidly with the background, and it's just such an amazing sketch. So let's look at a couple more of his paintings. Again, a great sense of focus and everything throughout this piece. Each one of the characters is staring off. Really lovely color. This one is really great layout. I love the length of this piece, and you got these characters kind of pulled back, and that character got added a little bit of an angle, and it really makes a nice swoop throughout the whole piece. And above and beyond that, you have some really great characters in here and a really lovely painting style as well. Again, another phenomenal sketch. I almost feel like the sketches are, to me, more beautiful than even the painted process later. I really dig his use of color in these two pieces here. How there's just really not a lot of color, but there's a little smattering of blue in an otherwise black and white world. There are a little bit of red and a little bit of tonality in the skin tones as well. Again, just another phenomenal piece. I love the way that he paints his form. It's really interesting playing with light, because these are just all little hashes of paint in there, but it really comes together so wonderfully in here, and it's a really interesting painting style there too. It's really nice colors. That orange is really pretty there too. And then again, another wonderful drawing. I really I love the kind of rhythm that you have here of a fleshy area and then more of a bony area, then to some more flesh, then back to bone and more flesh, and it really has a nice rhythm and flow through it, and kind of a contrast and balance between the fleshiness of the belly to the harsh rib cage bones here and everything. And man, I love this stuff. So hopefully you guys will check out more of his work. Like I said, I don't think he gets nearly enough recognition or credit for how phenomenal he is. But I did want to share a quote that I was able to find, which took a little while to find a quote. I try to get something from the artists themselves. Occasionally I do, but I found this one, and I thought this one was great. So here it goes. Unless you consider illustration so fine a thing as to be worth your last ounce of strength and effort, don't be an illustrator. And I would say that goes for don't follow your dreams unless you're willing to give every last ounce of strength and effort and drive. Because just going from kind of personal stuff, there's a lot of days where I could go do different kinds of work, and it's sacrifices sometimes. Eating top ramen for a week, or gotta keep wearing similar things all the time. Can't go out and buy new things and everything. But and this is kind of the sad part that you see about some of these people whose work we look at. I'll read some of their bios and stuff, and they and maybe they had a really good stint for a while, but because of the economy or the market or the medium changed, or the desire for their particular style changed, or whatever, that they still were producing great work, but they ended up being like in almost poverty towards the end of their life, with a lot of these people whose work is just gorgeous and rivals, you know, anything of today's work. And so I think that's, you know, it's a tough pill to swallow, but it would be an easy life, relatively, to go out and get a 9-to-5 job, have a paycheck that you're sure you're going to get every week for going and doing this job, as long as you know, put the effort in and everything. But if it's not your passion and stuff, you have to find what that is, and that can be difficult. And it took me a little while to figure out what it is that I wanted to do, and it still, you know, evolves and grows and changes day to day, or month to month, or week to week. But once you find what it is that you love, you know, decide if it's gonna take, you're gonna give it your last ounce of strength and effort, and then go for it. Otherwise, just have it be kind of a hobby, you know. And it's a tough thing, but I really feel like unless you're willing to give up stuff and to you know, not have kind of relationships maybe that you want in your life, or the not be able to go to every event that you're invited to, or anything, that you're giving up on stuff to pursue your dream. And maybe that won't be forever, you know. Maybe you'll get to a level where you don't need to put that much effort into it, but for a while it's going to take, you know, everything you've got and everything you can give it to try and master those mediums. But I'm getting rambly, so let's go ahead and get into some animation. This is the Knacklesaur rig. It's a free rig you can grab over at 3dfiggins.com. I will throw a link in the description below if you guys want to play around with this one as well. And if you're not familiar with what we'll be doing for the rest of the video, I go off and I find a rig that I've never used before. It's a free resource for you guys to play around with as well. And we kind of go from there, give ourselves, I don't know, somewhere around 100 frames, 48 frames. It depends on the day, depends on the style, depends on life in general. But usually somewhere around the 48 to 100 frames that we do together each and every day. But the goal of these videos really is to hopefully encourage you guys and inspire you to go off and create your own stuff using your own unique voice and your own unique imagination and your own creativity. And so that you're taking another step in your journey towards mastering whatever medium it is that you're passionate about. If it's singing, if it's sculpting, if it's playing an instrument, whatever it is. You know, I hope that you're going and you're pushing yourself and taking another step each and every day. So let's go ahead and start playing around. Now, what I was thinking for this one is I wanted to try and do a little bit of a run here, if we could. Now, I'm a little... I think it might end up being a little bit of a longer video here, so we'll have to see, but I think it'll be fun. I really like the aesthetic of this rig. It tends to be something more the kind of stuff that I'm particularly fond of. But let's see, how would we... We need to flip between all on contact and all in the air, right? So we start somewhere. Just gotta start somewhere so you can flip between the poses. So I think we'll start somewhere here. I'll just grab the, make sure we just have our nerve curves, nerve surfaces, and polygons selected. And just grab the feet here. Set a frame range from 0 to probably 48 here. I just want to start seeing how we can flip this, because I need to have work between a frame where all the feet are on the ground to one where they're all up in the air. Let's just flick between those two for now, and we'll just start building this thing. Try and get the feet really working here. colors here. Let's zero them out. So we'll go. Yeah, I think that's right. And then we'll drop them here. And we'll drop them here. Okay, so let's see how that feels for the front legs. So you get more of a circular movement between those two here. Let's see. Okay, and then we'll find a different timing here, so keep those on the ground there. Keep them on the ground here. And keep it on the ground here. Let's see. And one thing I want to do is I want to drag the feet back a little bit here. And keep them flat on the ground there. And we'll key that again. Drag them back a little bit there. Key that again. Drag them back here. I'm just trying to build the foundation for how these feet are going to work. So let's see. Okay, and then go up here a little bit. Up here a little bit. And up here a little bit. And let's look window, animation editors, graph editor, make sure I did those rotates. Fair and balanced them out there. Okay. And let's look at the front feet here. And we'll drag them back here. Go forward here. And 2 frames, we'll zero them out. And we'll drag them back here. Lift them up, 2 frames, and we'll zero them out. Drag them back here. Lift them up, 2 frames, and we'll zero them out. Okay, so let's see how that feels. I think this should be the highest point instead here. Yeah, let's look at the translate Z. I'm gonna get rid of this middle portion. So let's see. That feels a little better. And let's look here. Look at the translate Y. This should be where it fits, right? Yeah, that looks a little better. And let's look at the rotate X's. Let's tweak those up a little bit more. goes out. Push it up there. And it flats out. Okay. It might be better. Let's see how that feels. Okay, we definitely want to tweak that up some more, but I think that's a good start for the legs, so we get at least something working so we can start playing around here. Go up here, down there, up here, down there, up here, down there, and then back again. And we'll do a little bit of rotate X so it goes up here. And down there, up here, down there, up here, and back again. So let's see. I think I might need to go a little bit higher with the ups here. And let's look at those rotates. Let's balance those out a little more. Try and find a good middle ground here so I can keep it fairly balanced between the moves. Doesn't have to be exact. And let's see. Now, one thing we can't really do too much of, or we're going to have to tweak a little bit, is how much rotate, or how much translate Y we do here. So maybe we need to put in another key there, raise that up a little bit higher. And we'll go here, we'll punch one in here. So we're not intersecting through that ground plane so much. And raise that one up a little bit more. And here we're going to have to do a little less rotate X here. Just shape these curves a little bit more. This one there. Okay. Alright, so let's take a look at that here. And we'll just keep tweaking, but wanted to get that a little bit more cleaned up than we had before. Sorry, I got a little case of the sniffles. 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. My nose keeps running. Alright, and let's look at the front end here. Let's go and set that where it is. Maybe we'll have it go higher here. Lower there. Higher here. Lower there. Higher here. And back again. Just to add a little more variety there. Yeah, let's balance it up a little bit more. Let's see how it's looking. And let's look at the back end. mix that movement up a little bit more here. I think universally though, maybe we'll raise it a little bit higher. Just maybe we can get some of that squish on those back legs not to be so bad. Let's see. Okay, and we'll go here. We'll do a little rotate. Still need to do some tweaking there, but I think that'll mix it up a little bit more. Let's see. Alright, now let's grab two portions of the tail here, and we'll set that. Up down there. Up there, down there, up there, down, up, and back. Right, and then we'll go up the middle portion, we'll set that, and bring it down, and back up again. Up again, down, and back where it was. Let's see. Maybe we should invert these ones. Let's see. Let's see how that feels if we invert it here. We're getting there. I think we did some stuff a little bit opposite of what we should have done though. But we'll just invert it and that should be able to work. So let's see. These ones are going to have to go back to start on 0 instead of start on 4. Let's see how it feels. No, other way this change of shape goes, this should be higher. So maybe I should do this one here instead of doing 2 at the beginning. Alright. So let's take a couple steps back. We're going to go ahead and delete everything on those 2 middle ones, and we'll treat those 2 middle ones here as a unit instead of the first 2 as a unit. We'll treat the middle ones as a unit. So we'll go here, and down, back up, and obviously this is too much, so we'll have to scale it, but see if we can't get a little bit of a smoother feel through it. And then back again to 0. Let's see. Alright. Let's really neuter those a little bit more. Okay, let's see. Just fluctuate between a couple of moves here. Let's see. Still feel like this should maybe be here instead. Maybe on 6. Just feels like the timing's not exactly locked in yet. Go back to where we were here. Accentuate this one a little bit more in the beginning. Need a little more movement from the base here. Feels a little better now. Maybe a little less movement there, and a little less movement on the end of the tail as well. Kind of like a stiffer neck, but let's still do a little bit in the head. I'm going to save our file again here. So I'll set that, and then we'll go down here, up there, down there, up there, down there, up there. Let's see. Alright, and let's clean that up a little bit more. Make sure we're looping back in here, okay? Yeah, let's see how that feels. There's no actual neck controller, is there? I don't think so. But we could still probably do a little bit of back and forth here. So start out there. Go back here. Go forward there. Back here. Forward there. Back here. And back again. Let's see. let's exaggerate that a little bit more. Try to loosen it up a bit more. Gotta be careful about that intersection of the geometry though as well, but let's see. Do a little bit of wiggle on it as well. I'm missing a key here. I think I am. That's supposed to be, let's see, 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, and 48. Okay, there it is. I knew there was something off there. And throw that one in there. Okay, so let's see. What if I did a little bit of rotate X as well? Go. Loosen up that collar a little bit more. Okay, and let's look at the jaw. Do we have a jaw controller? Yeah, okay. And we'll save our file again, just so we're going back on to do some more steps here. So, close it up a little bit there, and open it, close it up a little bit, open it, close it up a little bit, and then go back to where we were. Alright, and then I don't want to close it up so much. I'm going to favor the open more than the close. So just universally and push that further. What's the chew do? I don't need to really do anything. I don't need to do that either. Okay, so I think there is a couple of tongue controllers here. Let's see if we can do a little bit of that. So let's set it there. Go. feels fine here, but then when it hits about there, it's no good. So maybe I'll invert that. Let's see. That feels better, right? Okay, yeah, let's look at the horns here. Let's see. Darn, I thought we could do a little drag on there. I'll ignore that for now because we have a lot of other controllers still to work with. There'd be like a seat controller, but there really isn't. Okay, let's look back at these feet. They still feel like they could use a couple extra levels of polish here. So that's all fine. It's really this frame here. It's not looking so good. So maybe we'll take the rotates and make those a little less extreme. Push the translate Y up a little bit more here. I guess we could just push it universally up a little bit higher. Might be a little too high, so maybe we just won't go as low with them. Okay, let's vary the height of some of these moves just so there's a little bit of variation here. And this step as well. Let's see. And let's vary the rotations a little bit. Just so there's some variety between the 2 feet here. Maybe we'll take one of these steps, just where it lands, and we'll delay that 1 frame there. We'll take the beginning here, just so we have not everything hitting all at the same time. I'll go 1 frame there. Just so there's a little variety in our timing as well. And we should be able to mess with that a little bit more in the front legs, because those actually, we can get a little bit more height out of those, so we should be able to do a little more variety there. So we'll make one a little bit lower. And this one could be a little bit higher here. And do the opposite here, so this one, like I said, could be a little bit higher. So we could go a little bit lower, so that way we really don't have to mess with their timing, but more spacing, so that'll show that, kind of show that they're not really hitting it really at the same time. And we'll vary the rotation a little bit more here. just so we're moving in 3D space a little bit better. So a little bit here. Actually, no, we want it. Yeah, 12, right? Another 24, and then 36 again. And again, 0. Sorry. No, that's not right. Well, I'm going back to working. I think I'm working on 6s, but I'm working on 8s here, so that might be why I'm. So we go 8 frames, then not 6 frames, then 24, then not 32, then 40, not 48. Okay, that seems right, right? Let's go back here. And we'll work on 12. And 16 frames, not there. And 32, we'd want it again. 16 frames, not there. Just so we get a little twist in the body here. And then let's maybe do a little bit here. Well, it's up in the air again. A little bit of rotate Z. That's not really doing it. I was thinking it would be here. So let's do it maybe with this guy. A little bit of rotate Z. It's not really doing it either. So maybe we'll just do it in the feet. We'll just do a hint of rotate Z here. Out there. Again, just to add some more variety here. Show that we're working in not just flat everything. And let's see if we can do a little bit on the toes. Do the toes allow us to do anything? Nope. Okay, we don't have. What's the roll? Oh, we can do maybe a little bit of that. Let's see. Start off with it roll a little bit. So grab both of them. Put just a hint of roll in there. Like I said, just a little bit here. And just a little bit here. And back again. Just to try to add a little more variety to everything as we're going. Let's see. So we want 0 roll there. So we do still get that flat on the ground. And 0 that. Okay. And let's look at the back feet now. We'll do a little bit of roll here. And 0 that. Okay. And let's look at the front feet now. We'll do a little bit of roll here. And 0 that. Okay. And let's look at the back feet now. We'll do a little bit of roll here. And 0 that. Okay. And let's look at the front feet now. We'll do a little bit of roll here. And 0 that. Okay. And let's look at the back feet now. We'll do a little bit of roll here. And 0 that. Okay. And let's look at the front feet now. We'll do a little bit of roll here. And 0 that. Okay. And let's look at the back feet now. We'll do a little bit of roll here. And 0 that. Okay. And let's look at the front feet now. We'll do a little bit of roll here. And 0 that. Okay. And let's look at the back feet now. We'll do a little bit of roll here. And 0 that. Okay. And let's look at the front feet now. We'll do a little bit of roll here. And 0 that. Okay. And let's look at the back feet now. We'll do a little bit of roll here. And 0 that. Okay. And let's look at the front feet now save that, and then see if there's anything else we want to play up here. Just want to see if there is like a seat controller. Okay, if I grab both of those, that's the seat controllers there. Okay, so we could probably do a little bit there. So we'll set those, and we'll rotate it back and up a little bit. And then we'll kind of flip between those two. We don't need a whole lot, but just so there's a little bit of give there. Let's see. And then we'll grab both of, let's see, try and grab all of those. We'll set that. And we'll do a little bit of rotate forward, just a teeny bit. And then a teeny bit back. And then we can just flip through those two, just to loosen that area up a little bit more. Let's see. Maybe we need one more frame for these guys. So when they rotate X, they don't just slam into that next one. Let's see if that helps a little bit. Yeah, that feels right. I think that works. You could definitely play up some more stuff here with the tail, and actually I think I am going to play with the tail a little bit more. At least this section of it. We'll exaggerate a little bit more. And perhaps this portion as well. Okay, then let's grab everything here, and we'll grab our last key and we'll just push it off screen. So we have a little variation between our last key and our first key, so we'll cycle a little better, turn our grid off, save our file again, and then let's go ahead and create a new camera here, and we'll make a cylinder here, just so we have a little base panel to work with here. And we'll scrunch it up a little bit more. Just keep going. Scale it back down a little bit more. It's a little too big here. Let's see if it's intersecting the feet a little too much. Just nudge it down a little bit. And we'll scoot it back a little bit more. Let's see how it feels. Yeah, it's fairly. I think we can still make it a little smaller. just kissing the floor there. Right, now let's copy that. Copy that and paste another one. And if I didn't mention already, we are using Autodesk Maya 2014 for today's video. I think I may have not mentioned that. I should. It's an awesome program. Love Maya. Use it every day. Check it out. Links in the description below. And copy that and paste another one. A little bit skinnier and a little bit higher. That kind of beveled effect here. To make them a little bit shorter. Okay, well, we just have a nice base to work with. And we'll assign a new material to it. We'll put a Lambert on there. Color it. Make it dark red. Oh, let's make it a little more gray here. So I think that'll work for today. I was thinking about what color background would look good with this. Maybe we could do let's create another polygon primitives. Let's make a cube here. And just so we have a different background color here. Right down. Material, let's do another Lambert. And we'll use that same color, but we'll mute it a little bit more. Just as a hint of that in the background. Okay, and turn our shoot, all our controllers are still showing. Oh, I think there's a visibility thing here. Rig? Is that it? Yeah, there we go. Zoom out there a little bit. And we're ready to do a play blast now, I think. But we'll take a look at where we start. We're looking at the beautiful work of Dean Cornwell. And he said, unless you consider illustration so fine a thing as to be worth your last ounce of strength and effort, don't be an illustrator. And like I said, I think that goes for any sort of creative medium, unless it's something you're absolutely passionate and you're willing to make sacrifices and you're willing to not have any other pursuit except for your passion. Just have it be a fun hobby, have it be something you enjoy doing here and there, but don't stress yourself out over it. And if it is, then be willing to make those sacrifices and try not to get upset or frustrated at the sacrifices you have to make, but realize that's part of trying to be a master or a bring your work to that next level. So thanks again for watching. Thanks for all the likes and subscribes. I hope you guys had fun with me on this one. I had a blast with you guys, and I think that'll wrap it up for today. Remember, if you're watching this, you are the creative future, and we will see you for some more animation tomorrow.